This ex-cage fighter took the life of his ex-partner in a gruesome and brutal attack, and she was not his only victim. Oh, hi there, stranger. Today I'm going to be telling you about Paul Thomas Robson. Heads up, today's case is particularly grim, so viewer discretion is advised. Paul Robson is an ex-MMA fighter with an extensive criminal record. 21 convictions for 92 offences over the span of 30 years. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of some of those offences. In 1993, he was convicted of aggravated burglary. 1998, convicted of possession of ammunition. 2001, conspiracy to steal lorries. In 2002, he was convicted of grievous bodily harm. He had punched an 18-year-old girl in the face and broken both sides of her jaw. Just 3 years later, in 2005, possession of a substance with intent to supply. And then in 2014, again, possession of a substance with intent to supply and possession of a taser disguised as a mobile phone. And it was during the 2005 stint in HMP Northumberland that he met prison teacher Caroline Cale, who was married at the time. Caroline's husband was a senior prison officer. Caroline had worked in authority for most of her career, having been a social worker, a police officer, a prison officer, and then she moved into education. She would stay within the prison system though, move into the Department of Education within the prison, and that was where she met Robson, and the two started a secret affair which would last until his release. Caroline would later take her teaching skills into a school, becoming a teacher to children, but not before reigniting her affair with Robson when he was back behind bars in 2014. This time, though, they would stay together after his release in 2018, and he would move into Caroline's home in the village of Linton. She had by now separated from her husband. Robson had actually been recalled to prison on the 1st of March 2019 to finish serving out his 10-year sentence, but he didn't go back, instead choosing to stay out of prison illegally. And this brings us to October 2020, when Caroline had started seeing someone behind Robson's back. This was an unlawful relationship, as the person that Caroline was having a relationship with was a 15-year-old boy. Caroline was 47 years old at the time. It seems Robson found out about Caroline's affair, for want of a better word, and he left her and went to Glasgow. Not content with just leaving, Robson could have done the right thing and reported Caroline, but instead he made the decision to blackmail her. He told Caroline he would ruin her and let everybody know about her illegal relationship, including the school that she worked at, if she did not pay him. And so between the 1st and the 11th of November 2020, Caroline paid Robson £29,000, clearing out her savings and taking out a £10,000 loan in order to do so. Still, this was not enough for Robson, who decided to return to Linton on the 15th of November with the worst intentions. The drive from Glasgow to Linton takes roughly 2.5 hours, so he had plenty of time to think about it. Earlier that day, he'd bought a bottle of ammonia and filled an empty washing up bottle with it. He did dilute it with some water. Of course, the top of a washing up bottle has a little cap on it that can be squirted with more force and aimed more accurately than, say, a normal water bottle. Ammonia can cause burns to the skin and eyes, depending on the concentration. He arrived to Caroline's home, which until just a couple of weeks before that he had shared with her, and was seen skulking around outside. He texted a friend that he could see Caroline and her 15-year-old boyfriend cuddled up on the couch together. It would seem that Robson knocked on Caroline's door and she opened it and let him in. He forced or pushed her to the floor and immediately attacked her. It was a ferocious and vicious attack. He was wearing steel toe-capped boots and he used those boots as weapons, kicking Caroline in the head and face repeatedly. This frenzied attack was so brutal that Caroline went into cardiac arrest. He fractured bones in her face and caused her catastrophic brain injuries from which she would not recover. This animal still was not done though. He took scissors and a meat cleaver and used those to cut off Caroline's hair and slash her buttocks. He sprayed Caroline with the ammonia that he had made up earlier. And once he was finally done with Caroline, he turned his attention to the 15-year-old boy. Again, he attacked ferociously and viciously. He used scissors, a kitchen sharp, and the cleaver. The poor kid tried hard to defend himself, grabbing at the blade and sustaining serious defensive injuries. Robson hit the boy in the face with the meat cleaver with such force that he broke the bone that forms the upper jaw. He also sprayed the boy with the ammonia. Miraculously, the boy survived this attack. He has been left with lifelong scars and, I assume, lifelong trauma. In my opinion, this poor child was a victim of both of these adults. Robson then left Caroline's house and went to a neighbour who he knew to be a nurse. He said, "I've done something, she's in a bad way." That neighbour would immediately go to Caroline's, alert emergency services and start working on the boy. Robson left the scene, taking with him the weapons, Caroline's bank card, because the £29,000 was not enough for him clearly, and Caroline's and the boys' mobile phones. He disposed of the weapons, his own clothing and boots, and then went on the run. He didn't last very long before being arrested, and unsurprisingly, he didn't admit to what he'd done. He said instead that when he went to Caroline's, he was attacked and overpowered by the 15-year-old boy who knocked him out by manual compression of the neck. He said that when he came to, the 15-year-old had taken Caroline's life and then attacked Robson with the sharp, and everything Robson had done to the 15-year-old boy had been in self-defense. Yes, stranger, really. These wild and outlandish claims would of course mean that the case had to go to trial, with the poor child being put on the stand and forced to endure even more emotional turmoil. The jury did see through the ridiculous claims, but of course due process had to be done. Paul Robson would be found guilty of murder, attempted, and blackmail. And on the 31st of March 2021, he would be sentenced to life with a minimum term of 35 years for taking Caroline's life, and then to run concurrently another 35 years for the attempted and 5 for the blackmail. Robson was 50 years old at the time of sentencing, so it's likely he won't ever see freedom again, and good. Caroline herself, of course, had made some seriously poor decisions, to put it mildly, but that lady should have been sent to prison, not kicked to death. But that, of course, is just my personal opinion. Please let me know what yours is in the comments. I sincerely hope that 15-year-old boy was offered lifelong support, counselling, therapy, whatever he needs to be able to get over this. I hope he's managed to find some peace and that he goes on to live a happy life. In my eyes, he's the true victim of this case. And what a brutal and gruesome case it was. And I'd never heard of this one. It just goes to show that you never know what's going on behind closed doors, eh? But as ever, stranger, if you've stayed with me up until now, then thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next one.